Nannies, how did you accidentally expose the secret that ended your employer's marriage? I was organizing the playroom when I heard the garage door grinding open an hour earlier than expected. My hands froze around the stuffed animal I was holding. The little girl I watched looked up from her coloring book with wide eyes. I heard expensive heels clicking across the kitchen tile. Mrs. Ashford never came home before 5. I set the toy down on the shelf and wiped my sweaty palms on my jeans. The clicking stopped suddenly right outside the playroom door. I heard her breathing hard like she had been running. The door swung open and she stood there with mascara streaked down her face. Her blouse was untucked and her hair was falling out of its clip. She looked at me and then at her daughter and her whole body started shaking. I grabbed the little girl's hand and pulled her behind me instinctively. Mrs. Ashford dropped her purse and everything spilled across the carpet. Her phone landed face up and the screen was still lit with a text message. I crouched down to help gather her things and my fingers touched the phone first. The message on the screen was from someone named D with a heart emoji. My eyes caught 3 words before she snatched it away. Tonight was perfect. Mrs. Ashford shoved everything back into her purse with trembling hands. Her daughter asked why mommy was crying. I heard another car pulling into the driveway outside. Mrs. Ashford's head snapped toward the window so fast her neck cracked. Mr. Ashford's sedan rolled past the glass. She grabbed my arm and her nails dug into my skin. Her grip was desperate and painful. I watched her wedding ring catch the light as her hand shook. The front door opened downstairs and heavy footsteps echoed through the foyer. Mrs. Ashford released me and smoothed down her hair with frantic movements. She wiped her face with the back of her hand and smeared the mascara worse. The footsteps started climbing the stairs. I assumed she was just having a bad day at work because rich people have stress too. I picked up a crayon that had rolled under the shelf. The little girl went back to her coloring like nothing had happened. Mrs. Ashford fixed her blouse and took 3 deep breaths. Mr. Ashford appeared in the doorway with a bouquet of roses in his hand. He smiled and walked toward his wife with his arms open. She accepted the hug, but her body stayed rigid. I noticed she turned her face away when he tried to kiss her lips. He handed her the flowers and she clutched them against her chest. A thorn must have pricked her because she flinched. I saw a small drop of blood appear on her thumb. Mr. Ashford pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. He said he had booked them a surprise anniversary trip. Mrs. Ashford's face went completely pale. The envelope slipped from her fingers and landed on the carpet. Mr. Ashford bent down to pick up the envelope, and that's when her phone buzzed again. The sound was loud in the quiet room. He glanced at her purse where the buzzing continued. She lunged for it, but he was closer. His hand closed around the phone, and he looked at the screen. His whole face changed in an instant. The roses hit the floor and petals scattered everywhere. He looked at his wife, and his voice was barely a whisper. "Who is D?" She started crying and reaching for the phone. He pulled it away and scrolled through the messages. I grabbed the little girl and turned her toward the window. The child pressed her face against the glass. Mr. Ashford made a sound like a wounded animal. He threw the phone against the wall, and it shattered into pieces. Mrs. Ashford dropped to her knees on the carpet. Mr. Ashford grabbed the dresser to steady himself. His knuckles turned white against the wood. The little girl started crying at the loud noises. I picked her up, and her tears soaked into my shirt. Mrs. Ashford was sobbing and repeating that she was sorry. Mr. Ashford walked out of the room without looking back. I heard him stomping down the stairs. The front door slammed so hard a picture fell off the hallway wall. Glass shattered somewhere below us. Mrs. Ashford crawled toward the broken phone pieces. She tried to fit them back together with shaking hands. The little girl screamed for her daddy. I bounced her in my arms, trying to calm her down. Car tires screeched outside as Mr. Ashford peeled out of the driveway. The affair had been going on for 8 months with Mr. Ashford's business partner. I found this out later when the divorce lawyers started calling the house. Mrs. Ashford had been meeting him at hotels during her supposed gym sessions. The partner's wife discovered everything a week later when Mr. Ashford sent her copies of all the messages. 2 families completely imploded because of one unlocked phone screen. Mr. Ashford filed for full custody of his daughter. Mrs. Ashford moved out within a month. The little girl asked me every day when daddy was coming home. I had to tell her I didn't know. The house sold 3 months later to strangers. I packed up my things from the guest room on my last day. Mrs. Ashford handed me my final check without making eye contact. Her hand was bare where her wedding ring used to be. I walked out the front door and heard the lock click behind me. The little girl's face appeared in the upstairs window. She pressed her palm against the glass. I raised my hand to wave goodbye. She didn't wave back.